What if I told you you didn't have to choose between an elopement and a big party? One big wedding squeeze, too many moments, and not enough time? Here's the 3-chapter plan Ellie and Lachlan used across 2 continents to beat the stress and make room for every moment. Simple, powerful, yours. I'm James, an elopement photographer who captures couples all across the world, from Japan, Europe, and right to Australia where I live. Today's case study is a really exciting one, Ellie and Lachlan. So they actually eloped in the Namadgi National Park here in Canberra. They then had a big party with their friends at the Nishi building, which is a local beautiful boutique hotel. And then a week later, they were in Biggleswade in the UK at this classic country pub, celebrating with their UK friends and family as well. Ellie and Lachlan also had an engagement session with me at the very same place that they actually had their sunset elopement at as well, which is incredibly exciting. And I'll share with you today a 5-point checklist to help you elope across the continent as well. Our story lens is really simple. Split each key moment into different parts and days so everything can breathe. So for example, during the first part, they had their beautiful forest elopement out in the Namadgi National Park. The second part, they were then out in the city having a great time with their friends and family, dancing, having some great food. And the third part is flying all the way over to the UK or to a different country and having a party with your other friends and family as well. It's really common in elopements for couples to sometimes have different families in different continents, so this happens more than you think. And it runs on 5 moves. Paperwork first, buffer days, carry-on essentials, dress for 2 climates, and 1 shared timeline. 3 chapters, 5 moves, no stress. Stick around till the end of the video and I'll also share with you 3 really important budget tips that so many couples sometimes miss out on as well. So many couples try to push so many different events into one big day. This is where it can feel really rushed, like you're trying to go from point A to point B and trying to rush and do everything. And the easiest thing to do is split it up, because then all of that pressure drops and you can be more present as well, which is the best important thing. With this, you can breathe. This means that you get your mountain views, you get your time alone, but then Nan also gets to give her speech at your party as well. Everyone wins and nobody gets shortchanged. So firstly, with paperwork, you want to get your notice of intent to marry in Australia sorted. As the UK party was just a celebratory thing, there was no paperwork needed for that. So depending on the airline as well, sometimes you'll know that certain airlines are a little bit less reliable than others. For this, having an extra buffer date is a really good idea. So this means that if there is a delay, you've got a couple of days to acclimatize as well, and it just helps everyone relax. Not only that, but you're probably going to get a bit of a jet lag, especially Ellie, Lachlan, and myself got a little bit of jet lag going from Australia to the UK, so also you've got to compensate for that sometimes too. Also, having a group chat is a really good idea, so if you add everyone into a WhatsApp group, that's another really good thing, and then everyone can be coordinated, and it helps things really easy as well. So when it comes to luggage, obviously lost luggage can happen. Couple of big tips for that. Firstly, get an Apple Air Tracker. I've used these quite a few times now, and they're really helpful at just double checking where everything is. Also, for really important things, for example, like your outfit, rings, all that stuff, carry it on your person. Try to avoid putting it in the hold, just in case stuff does get lost. With a clear plan, this means everything is going to be calm. So firstly, let's go right back to the start. Let's talk about Ellie and Lachlan's engagement session with me. So in January 2024, Ellie, Lachlan, and I actually did a little bit of a hike up one of the hills in the Namadgi National Park to this beautiful sunset ridge. In this, we had a bit of a hike up to the top. Here they shared mini vows. So with the mini vows, they're not actual real vows, but yeah, again, it's just this kind of line in the sand thing to draw just to share how you feel. I also gave them plenty of space. The way which I love to work with couples is very much about giving people space, letting them engage and reflect with each other. I love to ask couples questions. I think this is the best way to get the most emotion out of people, if I'm honest. So this is something I love doing with everyone I work with. The thing about having those vows as well means that everything feels very natural and everything really comes from the heart. Yet again, I'm really not the kind of photographer who's going to get people and say, right, stand over here, put the right hand here and the left hand here, and try and fake all this emotion. I think it's much better to actually bring it out of people. They loved this experience so much that we actually ended up going there for sunset on the day of their elopement as well, which was really exciting. More on that later though. Engagement sessions are a really fun thing because they give you this kind of now and then reflection. Especially, it's such a fun thing to do with couples, because I think a lot of couples as well are pretty nervous when it comes to wedding photography, the idea of it. So it's really nice to show this to people and say, hey, you got nothing to worry about. This is what it's going to feel like on the day as well. So now the next part I want to talk about is their actual elopement day. So this was basically a whole year later. In all this time, I've been working with them to plan the timeline, vendor recommendations, all this other stuff, and get all of the logistics in place. This is what I do as part of an elopement photographer. It's really, really exciting, and I'm really excited to tell you more about their day now. So the morning was spent in their beautiful home in Canberra, getting ready with their friends and family and their pet cats as well. In this time, it's really about people just having a great time, being documented, and also getting those really beautiful portrait images, which I love getting of the couples I work with. I think so often people think that elopements can't include family and it's just not something that's done, which of course is complete nonsense. Here we had Ellie giving gifts to all of her family as well, which was a really beautiful thing. Nice little letters, really heartfelt things, and it was really beautiful to see and document that as well. Ellie and Lachlan also wanted to do a first look, so there was this really awesome moment where I told Lachlan, right, we're going to get you out the front of the house, it's going to look really cool. Had him facing away into the hedges, and then Ellie coming up behind him, tapping on the shoulder and having this really beautiful reveal. It was just so cool, and yet again, just so beautiful to see. Ellie and Lachlan are two people who were so beautifully expressing themselves. I think that's such a nice thing to see in that vulnerability, and that was a really beautiful moment. Then what we did after that is they got in their car, I got in mine, and then we went over to the Namadgi, to this beautiful place called the Bendora Arboretum. There we met Sally from Marry a Sally. I've actually done an interview with Sally before, which you can find in the channel, and I'll put the link in the description below. Sally is a really heartfelt person, absolutely beautiful soul, and she creates such a great experience for Ellie and Lachlan as well. So another thing with elopements is you do need 2 witnesses to get legally married. This is the same for anywhere in Australia. So I was one of the witnesses, and then we had Sally, who was the celebrant, Ellie and Lachlan, and Sally actually brought along her friend to be the second witness. This is something I've spoken about before, but the good news is that there's so many different ways to elope and to get married in Australia. And to be honest, finding a second witness isn't usually too much of a big deal on elopements. For example, you'll have a celebrant who might be able to bring a friend, or we've actually even met hikers on the way during a hike who were very happy to be a second witness as well. We hiked into the Bendora Arboretum a little bit, found this beautiful clearing with all these big pine trees, just beautiful. Here we found a really private, quiet place as well, and the good thing is with this spot, it actually wasn't that busy at all, and this is another thing that is really beneficial when it comes to weekday elopements. You're not really going to find any other people there, which is really helpful. Ellie and Lachlan exchanged vows. Lachlan was tearing up. They were both tearing up, to be honest, and it was such a beautiful thing to see. And yet again, Sally held the space so well, and it was just incredible. Yeah, again, it's such a beautiful thing to see people exchange vows in such intimate, beautiful locations. Once we'd done that, we had a little bit of a walk around the Arboretum again, and then went into this really awesome kind of like metal tin shack, which I think they use for scouts sometimes. There was like a logbook in there, and they wrote their names in there. We got some really awesome creative portraits in there as well, and then headed off back to the sunset spot where we did their engagement session the year before. Once we hiked up the top, Ellie and Lachlan brought out some of the letters from their friends. So this is another thing which can be really exciting. What you can say to people basically beforehand is say, look, you know, we're going to be eloping. We would love to have you involved somehow. Do you want to write a letter to us that we can open up on the day so that we can still have you as part of our day and read some words from you? This is a really beautiful moment. They had some little snacks as well, looking out to the sunset. And to finish it off, we waited right till after sunset to get these really beautiful cinematic photos, which are just gorgeous. And well worth the wait as well when you've got these beautiful crimson skies which just glow up. There's truly nothing like it, and it's why it's always worth making time for sunset photos as well. So let's talk about the next part of this really exciting story, which was Ellie and Lachlan's reception at the Nishi building in Canberra. So the Nishi building is this beautiful place, as I say, boutique hotel, lots of wood, lots of organic materials in there. The food is excellent, as is the drink, and it is just a fantastic, stunning place. So yeah, again, as I've mentioned before, having the same outfits throughout everything can be really fun. You don't have to do it all the time, but it keeps things simple, and it kind of creates this really nice cohesion between all the images as well. So they had all their friends and family turn up, have a nice little reception. It was super relaxed, really good. But then throughout the night as well, people were giving speeches. They even cut the cake as well, had a lot of dancing. It was a really beautiful thing to do. And this is the big thing. If you're trying to cram everything into one day, this is where you can't really have sunset photos because you've got to make sure you're eating. And then you can't do other things in the day because of all the other conflictions. And for example, this shows a really good example of that. And this is where they can also do a first dance. This is something they really wanted to do. They had some really beautiful music on as well. And yet again, you can see very genuine and just all the emotions coming right out. It was really beautiful, especially for friends and family to see that too. Yet again, I think it's really nice to show this side of elopements where so many people think, oh, well, we can't do it with family. That doesn't really happen. Or elopements are just this very unemotional thing to get done, which again is complete nonsense. And you can see clearly in these images just how intense and how beautiful this all was. So with all of that done, the next part of the trip was over to the UK. So literally, I think a day or two later, we were all in Sydney Airport. We were doing doing different flights, but I remember running into Ellie and Lachlan, and it was really cool just to catch up with them at the airport, being like, oh, I'll see you guys in England, this is going to be crazy. And yet again, with this, definitely do book some buffer days in between your event. The worst thing could happen is if you turn up, you've got really bad jet lag, maybe something's gone missing, you don't want that stress. Do plan some buffer days with that. So let's talk about this classic English pub, which I was so thrilled to go to. For me, I'm actually from the UK originally. I moved to Australia 10 years ago. So going back to the UK, seeing my old friends and family was a really beautiful thing. And certainly going back to a classic UK pub right in the middle of the countryside was just a whole next level. So this was at the White Horse in Biggleswade, which is just north of London. And the inside of it is covered in all these beautiful textures, surrounded by nature, super cozy. The kind of coziness that really you could only find in a UK pub. So yet again, with this, it was Ellie and Lachlan having the same outfits, just to keep things easy, keep things consistent. And because I actually give every single couple a little bit of a sneak peek, they actually had some photos from their elopement playing, which was really cool for all their UK friends and family to see this and say, wow, oh my God, like that was you guys, and saying, yep, that was literally a week ago. It really blew people's minds to see how beautiful Australia was. But then again, yet again, to have Ellie and Lachlan there to celebrate. Reception menu was beautiful, lots of wood everywhere, super cozy, lots of heating, ales on tap, the whole caboodle. It was amazing. So as the night went on, we had food, speeches, all of these really fun things. Yet again, another cake cutting as well. And then the dance floor went off. So you can see that all three of these experiences so far have been so different. And this is the power of having a multi-day elopement, especially around the world when you do have different friends and family from around the world. Then I ended with some classic UK tunes. And yet again, for me, growing up there, it's so weird to hear all these old songs that really, they only play in the UK, but it must have been so cool for Ellie to have that as well, with Ellie being the same as well, moving here from the UK and then going back there to have the celebration as well. So to close things off for their journey, Ellie and Lachlan also now had a honeymoon. So this is the really cool thing with elopements, how so many couples love to integrate the honeymoon into their experience. So for example, Ellie and Lachlan going over to the UK to have the celebration and then saying, well, we can have a honeymoon here or anywhere in Europe. And what they did is actually went out to the Lake District, had some camping, had some hiking up there for a few days, and they absolutely had a whale of a time. So that's a bit of a breakdown of how Ellie and Lachlan's whole experience went. And here are the 5 moves which we set up to make sure that they achieved exactly what they wanted. So 1, do the paperwork first. This is Australia's notice of intent to marry. Make sure you've got that completely sorted out and everything else legally. 2, set up buffer days. Remember, buffer days are a really important thing, especially in case of delayed flights or lost luggage. 3, carry on essentials. Remember to carry the most essential stuff in your hand luggage if you can fit it. 4, dress for 2 climates. Now, this might be a little bit tricky, but basically think about what you really want to wear and then bring lots of accessories with you as well. This will help you pad out everything and be ready for anything. Yet again, with Australia, it was summer here, so it was like 30 degrees at least, but back in the UK we were talking about maybe 5 degrees. So different, but yet again, by having one outfit that works both between 2 continents, you're sorted. And 5, one shared plan. Now yet again, this is where I come in and help you as well with trying to work out which timelines will work for you, what suits, and also then coordinating everything with a shared WhatsApp group, all of this stuff, so everyone is up to date with everything. 5 moves, no stress. With all this stuff, I've actually written a blog post about Ellie and Lachlan's whole elopement, which you can find in the link down below too. And as promised, here's these 3 budget tips that you should ensure you definitely follow to make sure everything goes smoothly for yourselves. The first one is hiring lots of different vendors across the world. So for Ellie and Lachlan, they knew they really wanted me as their photographer, and they also wanted me to capture their elopement over in the UK as well. With this, it means that basically you're not going to be doubling up on invoices. You're going to end up with lots and lots of different invoices and everything like that. It's best to keep it simple as much as you can. A tip 2 is when it comes to currency exchanges, this can be a bit of a tricky thing, but the best advice I have for this is try and pay in the country's actual currency and try and lock in that currency when you agree upon a contract as well, or an invoice if possible. And the third tip I have is consider flexibility. So if any vendors or anything you can get does have flexibility just in case of bad weather or anything like that, definitely check with them and see what their policy is on that too. Dodge those and your plan stays calm and controlled. If you have found any of these tips really helpful, I do also share a lot similar things on my Instagram, which you can follow at @WhoShotThePhotographer. And if you had a fortnight and a passport, where would you go? I would love to hear down below in the comments where you would love to spend your time as well. And remember the mantra, 3 chapters, 5 moves, no stress. Now you've seen a multi-day, multi-country elopement, which hopefully makes you feel a little bit more prepared about planning your own. However, if you want to move faster, send me a DM. I can help you out, give you logistics, give you some advice as well on what you need to do for your multi-day elopement. Anyway, thanks for watching this, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.